Hi, I'm Mark and this is Foothill Paint and Fabrication. Today we have a real simple job, real quick. We've got some brackets for that 1950 Chevy truck, the paint job. So these all need to be painted with some chassis black. So I have a couple of large ones, these two small ones here. I'm not entirely sure where this one goes, but the owner took it off, so I hope he knows where it goes back on. And then we got a couple of their Fender straps there, braces that keep them from wobbling in the wind. So let's get these things prepped up, hung, and sprayed with some chassis black and get this knocked out so I can get them back to the owner. Okay, let's just take a quick look at what we have here. Like I had my hand earlier, these two little brackets here, as you can see, they've already been prepped pretty good by the owner. He's got them scrubbed really clean. There's a few areas here, so we're going to run some Scotch-Brite over them real quick. These larger brackets, they've been laying around in the shop, so they get a little dust on them from spraying primer and sanding and stuff. So we're going to clean those up a little bit as well and scuff them. And then these are the little straps that hold the fenders and keep them from moving, if I'm not mistaken. So we got 4 of these. They got some rust and some other stuff. I'm going to take these over to the wire wheel on the big grinder, and then we'll just get these cleaned up real nice and get ready. Now, they're in really good shape. He did a really nice job on some of these, but there's a few spots that need to be hit again, and then we'll just get them prepped up, scuffed up, and then we got to hang them so we can spray them. Okay, we're going to use my polisher grinder. I got a grinding wheel on one side and I swap out polishing wheels and the wire wheel on the other. Now this wire wheel is actually a little big. The arbor on this is pretty big around, and so I got a wire wheel for it, but I got a little carried away. This is a massive 10-inch wire wheel, so you got to be careful with it because it will take the skin right off your hands real fast, and you can hook stuff on it real quick. So I'll be careful. I wear gloves. The only reason I wear gloves is because the parts are going to get hot and I want to make sure I grip them tightly, make sure they don't go shooting across the room. But yeah, this thing, it takes a minute to go up to speed, but once it's going, it really tears through the material. Okay, like I said earlier, the owner did a really good job of cleaning these up. There's a little groove here and there that he couldn't get into. This wire wheel gets down into pretty tight spaces. So we're just going to clean these up a little bit, blow them off, and then we're going to hang them from the ceiling over here. And then we're going to have to figure out how to hang them and then get them sprayed. All right, got everything hung on the fender rack, I guess, use it for everything. So these large pieces, what I did, they have a threaded hole, 2 holes in there. So what I did was threaded a piece of 5/16 bolt in there, trapped that with a nut so it would stay straight out there. And then with that loose, I just threaded it into this piece a little bit and then tighten it up. And those are perfectly hung right there, so I can paint all the way around them, no problem. I'll throw a little bit of masking tape on there so I don't cover the threads up so I can't get it apart later. These little pieces here, just wire. Just hung them, but I'm careful when I bend the wire so I can paint all the way around it. And I just hang 2 at a time. And what I've done, I bent up a little hook so I can hook the bottom here and pull while I'm spraying to put some weight on it so it doesn't blow all over the place. Same thing on here. Same idea on these, except if you look closely there, you can see I bent a loop in there and I fed that up through the hole. So there's no wire going through, no around the other side. I learned this doing this working at a chrome plating shop for years. We used to put a little washer on there and then pull it up through there and then hang the parts in the plating tank. So that works out really well. And I also use the wire hook. I'll just hook it with my hand with the wire and while I'm spraying so it doesn't blow all over the place. So these have been blown off. All we got to do is mix up some chassis black and get these things sprayed. Okay, the parts are all hung. We're just going to use some chassis black on this job and my little double bus gun, this little starting line gun. It'll work really good to get a small pattern so we're not wasting paint out trying to paint those little tiny parts. It doesn't really fit on my my gun holder here, so I'll figure something out. I keep telling myself I'm going to make a little plate so this gun fits on here, but I never do. So we're going to hang it on the nail right here, and I'll figure out how to pour the paint into it. I'll probably use this paint full strength. You can reduce it with acetone or whatever brand solvent they recommend. But I'll probably use it full strength so we get a nice heavy coat on there. So let's get this can cracked open, get it in the gun, and start spraying. Okay, I got the gun set to a pretty small pattern. We don't want to waste this material. We're going to get a coat on, let it flash off, and then get another coat on fairly quickly, depending on how it feels, if it's going to try to sag on me or not. So I'm going to hit all the hard to reach areas. I got my little hook here somewhere, and we're just going to get a coat on everything right off the bat. Okay, that's one good coat. I wanted to make sure I got the edges too. A lot of times when you're worried about spraying the flat parts, you forget to get the edges really well. So I'll make sure I go over those again because those were all scuffed down to back to bare steel. These were bare steel, so they're going to get plenty of coats. This is looking pretty good so far. It's pretty tacky already, so we can go right back at it with another coat. You can brush this stuff on, so it's fairly heavy bodied. I may put a little acetone in there to reduce it down. It's that little gun's having a little bit of trouble spraying it, and I don't want to crank up the air too high, then I'll just blow it off in the air and waste it all. So let's get started on the second coat. Okay, we got plenty left for probably 2 more coats. So I did add a little acetone to the cup and started mixing. So it started out a little thick and then it's thinned out a little bit and the pattern got a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and let this flash off all the way and then hit it with 1 more coat or 2 more coats, and then we should be pretty good. Okay, we got 4 or 5 good wet coats on there. So these will be really well protected up underneath the truck. I don't see any runs or sags or anything, so I laid it on pretty good. We're going to roll them out into the sun. What sun we do have, there's a forest fire that's been burning for a while, about 200 miles away from us. And as you can see out there, it is smoky. Been like that for days. So I'm going to roll them outside, let them bake in what sun is burning through that smoke, and let them dry. Okay, that wraps up this video on getting those brackets painted for the 1950 Chevy truck. We got all the parts painted with 4 or 5 good wet coats of chassis black. I was able to get most of the paint on the parts and, well, a little bit on me. I'm a little sticky. But when you're working, hang on to parts, that'll happen. The parts are set outside to dry, and they'll be set aside once they're dry, and then just wait for the truck to go back together. We're moving right along, so it's really good to get some parts done. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. For all of you that subscribed so far, I want to send a big thank you. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, please subscribe and mash that bell icon so you get notifications every time I release a new video. We'll see you on the next one.